Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Beginning of a week. Hope you're going to stay dry in the unpleasant weather that I think we're going to have again today. But we're going to learn Rashi together. The first Rashi and the second Aliyah of Parshas Behar. Very interesting Rashi. A little bit of a surprising Rashi. Parsha begins, of course, with description of Shemitah, description of Yovel in basic form. We learn more about it as we go along, but the basic parameters of Shemitah and Yovel. And then in the second Aliyah, the Torah takes a transition to a variety of different topics, all associated with that, but in different ways. So we talk about indentured servants, we talk about Eved Ivri, we talk about Gulas Karka, redemption of land. All of this has to do with Shemitah and Yovel, because those are the times when land returns to its owners and slaves become free. But the circumstances that brought about the sale of land or the sale of a person as their own individual have really nothing to do with Shemitah and are being described here. In fact, Rashi, the beginning of the next parak, describes how all these seemingly random topics after Shemitah and Yovel and the Parsha are really connected. They're a domino effect, chain reaction. A person not keeping Shemitah properly is that this is going to happen to them, and this is going to happen to them, and they're going to have to sell themselves, and they're going to have to sell their land. All of the chain effects, chain reaction of what's going to happen if a person doesn't keep Shemitah or Yovel properly, which is the beginning of the Parsha. So Rashi actually does frame these topics as being connected to one another, and they're loosely connected, but on the surface, they seem like random other things. So after talking about Shemitah and Yovel, the Torah introduces us to the following pasuk. V'chitim kru mimkar la'amitecha, o kano miyad amitecha, al tonu isha dachiv. Talking about business dealings. When you sell something to your amit, and we'll just say friend for the moment, or you buy something from your amit, your friend, al tonu isha dachiv. You're not allowed to be Tonu, one the other. So what is Tonu? What is Amitecha? Let's see how they translate it here into English. Neighbor. Amitecha is neighbor. It's usually how it's translated. When you buy something from your neighbor, you sell something, that you shall not wrong one another. Al Tonu Ishad Achiv. The language of ona'ah, of cheating, of mistreating another individual. So Rashi says over here, Chitim Karu, Lifi Pshuto, Kimashma'o. The pshat of the pasuk is kimashma'o. We're talking about business dealings because we're about to get into the fact that if someone sells something and then they owe them the money and they have to sell themselves into slavery, that whole topic is about to come. So it's introducing us generally to the idea of business dealings, and it's kimashma'o, a simple reading. Amitecha, neighbor, means just what it means. A neighbor. It happens to be the most common scenario of a sale. So talking about sale is selling one thing to another, one person to another. Amitecha is not so significant over here. And al tonu is kipshuto, like a simple reading. You shouldn't cheat one another. You shouldn't steal from one another. You shouldn't swindle one another. You shouldn't lie to one another. You shouldn't corrupt one another in this business dealings of either sales or purchases. However, look at the drasha here, Rashi quotes. Very, very interesting. ODS drasha. There's a drasha on this pasuk. That's the shot. The drasha on this pasuk, the other level of meaning to this pasuk, which Chazal saw, is minayin kishetehei mocher liYisrael chaverecha, Talmud lomar, chitim karumim kar, kama la'amitecha. How do we know, say Chazal, that when you're selling something, you should give preference to selling to another Jew? The answer is this pasuk. If you read the punctuation a little differently, the pshat of the pasuk, the punctuation is v'chitim karumim kar la'amitecha, kama, o kanomi adamitecha, kama, al tonu isha dachiv. When you're buying or selling from a neighbor, don't cheat them. But in the drasha of the pasuk, the punctuation is a little bit different. The comma goes after mimkar. V'chitim karu mimkar, comma. When you perform a sale of any sort, comma, who should it be to? La'amitecha. To your neighbor, not just your colloquial neighbor, the most common person you're going to sell to, the person next door, but specifically amitecha, your friend, your neighbor, meaning another Jew, another Yisrael. O kano miyad, or kano, comma, miyad amitecha. Or you're going to sell or buy in any of the directions, comma, it should be to amitecha first. Minayin im ba'ata liknot, if you come to buy something, kano miyad Yisrael chaverecha. Buy it from your friend, Talmud lomar, or kano miyad amitecha. So very interesting punctuation of the pasuk, different read of the pasuk, but also alerting us to some greater principle which is out there, that when we buy or sell, we should give preference to a Jew. Now, a person might see this in some way as, I don't know, very restrictive, perhaps very anti-universalistic, perhaps a little bit derogatory towards non-Jews, towards other people. Why not do business with everybody? And again, Chazal are not saying here you're not allowed to do business with non-Jews. It's saying when you have an opportunity to buy or sell in a way that it doesn't negatively impact you, your first priority is to do business with another Jew. And again, on the surface, say that in the world, people say, oh, what are you talking about? And Jews, they're always to themselves. And we talked about Kiddush Hashem, Chil Hashem on Shabbos in the drasha. So that's an opportunity sometimes for Kiddush Chil Hashem. But I'm saying this in the closed room here of the Zoom. Something very interesting is being conveyed here in the pasuk and in this chazal, which is very similar to what the Rambam says in Hilchos Tzedakah. The Rambam says the highest level of tzedakah is to do business with another Jew. I think that's what Chazal are trying to express here in the pasuk. When we have the opportunity to help another Jew, not in terms of us being the one who's powerful and in control and giving them something as a chesed, but to engage them in the proper way in business dealings, then our priority lies there. When you have the opportunity equally, with no harm to yourself, with no loss to yourself, to do business with a Jew or a non-Jew, two opportunities present themselves in front of you, your first priority is to your own. Your first priority is to your own community, to your own neighbor, to your own amitecha, and to help them in that highest way. Again, you don't have to necessarily search out the opportunity to do business with a Jew, but I think if the opportunity presents itself, we do have an allegiance in that way to help each other out. And there is a bit of a club aspect to it. There is a bit of an aspect to it that we try to help each other first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We have to say it in the right way, present it in the right way. We can't appear chas v'shalom to be hating anyone else or excluding anyone else. But I think to say that we have an obligation to take care of our own first is not just a concept in Hilchos Tzedakah, but the ripple effects of that go beyond into business dealings as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.
You too, Rabbi. Thank you, and everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
luck,
good day.
Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.